now I'm experiencing someone that I deeply and truly cherish and appreciate. So when we have sex now, I'm having sex with this person that has a lot of depth with me, or that I see a lot of depth with. And so it's a new experience again, but it's a different dimension than like a new position or a new location.
You're listening to Get Your Marriage On, the fun and spicy podcast bringing you new tools and fresh ideas so that you can be the sexiest couple you know.
Hello, everyone. I'm sitting at my desk today where I record my podcast as I plan today's special episode with you in mind. And as I do so, I reflect on the progress my wife and I have made in our marriage over the last 6 years, which a lot of it is the catalyst for why we're doing this important work with Get Your Marriage On. And this is reminding me, as I reflect on these things, of a time about a year ago I felt stuck on an issue in my own marriage. And just so you know, my wife and I have a great marriage, and in many ways, it's an ordinary marriage with its ups and downs and opportunities for growth and so on. At this particular time, I wanted something that my wife did not, and both of our views were valid, yet it felt like gridlock. We couldn't move forward in the state we were in, and sometimes I just feel really frustrated and resentful of the state of things, and just wish she'd just, see things my way. The solution to problems like these required me to grow in a new area that I didn't recognize or see in myself yet. In just one session with my marriage coach, she helped me see myself more clearly and pointed out the very thing I failed to recognize in myself that was holding me back and where I needed growth. This and subsequent experiences like this make me a big believer in marriage coaching. Albert Einstein is said to have once said, "We cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that created them." And I believe that to be true when it comes to issues in marriage, and that's why marriage coaching is so helpful. It raises the level of thinking or the intelligence in the relationship so you can see what's going on. Over the years, I've had the privilege of coaching over 100 individuals and couples. Like last week alone, I coached 10 couples or individuals alone, and I helped them raise their level of thinking in their relationships. I do all of my coaching through my program, and it's called Next Level. And Next Level is my affordable coaching program, really designed for busy couples on the go that want to take their intimacy to, the next level. And here are some of the examples of the wonderful next levelers that I am honored to work with just this past week alone. For example, one couple has been married for a couple of years. He has a very high sex drive and she has almost no sex drive. And the differences in desire in their relationship are causing a lot of hurt feelings for both of them. Another couple are becoming empty nesters soon and want to address a few issues with regards to their relationship closeness, intimacy, and sexual desires in their marriage as they begin a new chapter in their life together. They're starting to experience a shift for good in their relationship as they're recognizing what's been missing and how to achieve what they both really want. Another example, a couple married 2 years is navigating the ins and outs of sexual pleasure, desire differences, and she's learning how to orgasm. A conscientious husband wants to know how to best address his concerns with his wife about the level of intimacy in their marriage. They've both been through a lot of stress recently due to a growing business and changing family roles and so on. It's put a lot of strain in their relationship. Another couple I'm working with has had their worst fights around how they spend time with their extended family when they go home. And we dig in deeper to find out the root cause of why splitting up their vacation time with family is such a source of contention in their relationship. And another woman in Next Level we're working with, she grew up in a home where her father left the family. And now that she's married, she has fears that her husband will do the same thing to her. Although she recognizes her husband is nothing like her father, yet her fears get triggered at the most inconvenient times that interfere with her ability to be intimate with her husband. This and numerous other examples are people that are coming to Next Level to raise the level of intelligence in their marriages and are finding great solutions and new tools to help them in their most important relationship. And I want to invite you to join my program and work with me. In Next Level, we offer a coaching call at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. Some of the calls are for men only and women only as well. And my colleague Amy Langford, she's amazing. She coaches the women. You get access to a ton of content, videos, courses, and workshops I've developed over the years too. You also get access to a private podcast that's not available anywhere except for members of Next Level. I also give our Next Levelers an opportunity for private one-on-one coaching as well. And today, I have permission to share with you a part of a recording of a recent private coaching session that I did last week with a wonderful couple, Andy and Stephanie, which, by the way, are not their real names to protect their identity. You'll get to meet Andy and Stephanie. They've been married for about 30 years and have recently been pushing themselves to grow together sexually. It's been exciting and scary for them at times. Listen to how Andy and Stephanie confront themselves in real time and get clearer in their mind around how they can think about certain concepts and how it leads to deeper intimacy in their relationship. Now, most of my coaching sessions like these are an hour long, but I've cut it down for brevity's sake for this podcast. But I still think it carries the main gist of what coaching can really be like, so you can see yourself and how coaching can really help you in your relationship. If you'd like to join me and over 100 other members that are in Next Level, the doors are now open just for another week. It's $49 a month per couple with no long-term contract. It's a really, really good way to accelerate your growth in your marriage. And I hope I get to work with you there. You'll find more details on my website at getyourmarriageon.com/next-level, or click on coaching in the corner and then hit Next Level in the menu. And now for the coaching session. Andy and Stephanie, welcome to Next Level Coaching. How are you today?
We're very good. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Good. How can I be helpful for you?
Well, we've been married for 30 plus years, and we've had a very good relationship in and out of the bedroom. But in the bedroom, it's become kind of a rut for us. And just recently, within the last few months, we have started to try and figure out how to get out of the box and how to expand our repertoire, as you say. And so we started listening to podcasts and trying to learn new things and broaden our horizons, because we grew up in a society where sex wasn't really talked about. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was something that's it's still to me very sacred. I don't know. I didn't grow up talking about it a lot.
Right.
And even with each other, we felt like we talked, but then actually it was uncomfortable talking about certain things, anything that was out of the norm. Anyway, that's kind of where we are now, as we have started to experiment with a few things and just trying to get out of the box, so to speak. Because we still have an adult child that lives with us, that kind of limits some adventurous opportunities.
Or spontaneity, like in the moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Spontaneity is what I like. I mean, if we plan, okay, let's plan it on Wednesday night at 6:00. Well, Wednesday night at 6:00, I might be like, oh man, it's been a rough day. And I don't feel like it. But on the other hand, we just listened to a podcast. She was saying, sometimes you do it even though you don't feel like it. You do it anyway because you won't regret it.
That was your podcast.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
And
yeah,
so,
with Ashley. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, maybe that's something I need to work on a little bit more also, is, get a little more.
It really depends on how you look at it, because yes, 6:00 on Wednesday might roll around and you might be tired, but it's different. Like, think of it like a date. Even before you're married, you're going to see each other, I don't know, on a Friday night. You look forward to it. You think about, what am I going to wear? What are we going to do? Maybe we'll hold hands or kiss this time. Like, you kind of start thinking ahead and anticipating. And part of the joy is the anticipation of it, just as much as it is the actual event. So you can harness that energy, even though you've been married more than 30 years. It's Wednesday, it's going to be 6, but I am anticipating something I know I will enjoy. I may not have a lot of energy, but something will come of this that I know I will enjoy.
Well, and also I've noticed that the between us app, um, we'll send each other messages back and forth throughout the day. And when nighttime comes, she better watch that.
Your engine's revved up. Uh-huh.
I am revved up, and hers is most of the time too. When we use that in that way, and so I have noticed that. Anyway, so
would you like to brainstorm more ideas together on how to help you with more of that creativity in your whole home instead of just your bedroom while having an adult child?
Okay.
What's his work schedule like?
It varies. Sometimes he works until 8 p.m. Usually that's about the latest.
Yeah. Most of the time he's getting home around 6 o'clock is what the average is, which is also when I get home is 6 o'clock.
Gotcha. This is a little inconvenient. If it was later, it'd be nicer. Okay.
Right. And so, he doesn't have much of a social life. So when he does get home, he usually wants to sit down and watch TV with us. And so we feel obligated to
entertain,
kind of, and so.
I mean, if we have things to do, we do them, but.
Just not those things to do.
Just
okay.
You don't want to entertain him that way.
No, gross.
I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
But right now, for example, we're both off work on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and he works quite a bit on Friday and Saturday.
So you can plan ahead and take advantage of sometimes.
If we can get him to tell us his schedule. So that's the problem, is we don't always know his schedule. He's still pretty private about that kind of stuff. So, planning around him, I guess we need to make sure that we do know his schedule and just tell him, hey, we want to know because we have things we want to plan too, and we don't want to shock you.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think sex is something you parade, especially in front of your kids. It's not healthy, I think. But it is healthy that your children know that you and your wife have a vibrant sexual relationship too, to model that.
That's true. In fact, we did share some of this information with our married daughter. Like, hey, check out this app, check out this podcast. But we haven't gotten any feedback, whether she's explored that or not.
And when you were 20-something, you probably wouldn't have received it with the same enthusiasm.
Our relationship with our daughter, with our kids, I feel has been a lot more open that way than our relationship
with your own parents.
Yeah, we've been able to have lots of good conversations around sex with them.
Sure.
With her more than the boys.
I've had a few conversations with my youngest because we traveled so much racing and stuff, we would spend a lot of time together. But up until recently, I was very careful about what I said. I was still really reserved. And basically, I would just tell him that we have a good relationship. So there again, my upbringing has brought that reservation into my life to where I didn't talk to my kids as much as I probably should have or could have. Help them as they develop also.
But you talk to them more than you talk to your parents.
Yeah, and
that's the same with me as well. And
hopefully they will expound on that with their kids and be even more.
Kind of our motivation about sharing some of this stuff with our daughter was we don't want her to go 30 years in her marriage and be like, oh, I could have found this a lot sooner.
Yes.
And so when hopefully our sons get married, we would want to, kind of share some of those things with them as well. So they're more prepared. And
so,
right. What you said reminds me of a friend that always gives a vibrator as a wedding gift, which is a pretty bold move.
It is.
But there's a note attached to it. Like, don't go through 20 years of marriage without the pleasure of this like we had to. Like,
Right.
they're not trying to be vulgar. They're giving it because they really don't want a new bride to experience what they went through of 20 years of lack of orgasm or whatever. So
Right.
I don't know, different philosophies, different ways of looking at it. And then again, there's some women that have no problem having orgasms. They get them pretty easily. They don't need a toy, but still. Uh-huh.
But I still come back to that doctor that we went to
Yeah.
just before we got married, and the advice he gave in just that, probably a
Right.
15-minute conversation at that was great. And I wish somebody would have gone a little bit more into detail. Now this is how this is how you touch her. I honestly didn't know what the clitoris was.
Mhm.
That's how little I knew about the female anatomy and how to pleasure my wife.
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm like, man, I wish I would have known that right from the beginning. Man, that would have been a deal.
Yes.
And Stephanie was so reserved that she wouldn't tell me what felt good and how to touch her. And I don't know that you knew.
No, it's been a lot of trial and error over the years. I mean, and it has gotten better over the years,
Yeah.
of course, with more experience, but we're just ready to up our game.
Keep going.
That's good. Good.
We're ready to level up.
Yes, you are. So you talked about out of the bedroom, and you have an opportunity with your husband working over the weekend when you're home. What other things do you want to do to expand your repertoire?
I think we just need the ideas. The 101 nights, I think, will help.
Yeah.
Now that we're a little bit more open to the recommendations, and I think talks about it, I think that'll help us a lot. And
Do you both consider yourselves creative people? Like, could you write your own erotic stories?
I guess we could give it a shot. Do you mean like on our own or like play together or?
You could do either way. You could do
Oh.
like you each write a sentence one at a time, like pass a Google Doc back and forth,
so we kind of did something like
paragraph or two.
with just between us,
Oh,
when we're
yeah.
talking about on the beach or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, we haven't carried on with that. We tried it a little bit, but we haven't. That's something that we probably work with a little bit more.
And I think it's the creation of it is where the joy is. And afterwards you can read it and it's fine too, but it puts your brain in a playful, what's possible? Well, your kids play cops and robbers. It doesn't mean they're going to grow up to be a cop or a robber. Teenagers do this too, right? They like wear certain types of clothes to see if they fit in with this crowd. And then they'll try different clothes to see if they fit in with that crowd. Or they join this club to see if they fit in that. You're like trying on different things to kind of explore and try things on. We do that sexually, and it is so exciting when you can allow yourself that freedom to try on a different role, try on
Right.
a different thing.
That's something we've not really done is like role playing or.
Ah, all right.
So,
What are your thoughts on role play?
well, I guess we could give it a shot.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but there again, the reason why I have them is because if we're role playing, it feels like almost like we're trying to cheat on each other. But
But we haven't tried it, so we don't know.
So there
But
again,
are you cheating?
no.
No.
But
No.
it's been, that's something that would be considered outside the box of what I've grown up with. So yeah, that's something that we can definitely do. It's just a matter of doing it.
I bet you two already role play without knowing you call it role play. Like, do you ever in a moment of sex imagine you're in a different location, like maybe on a beach, even though you're in your bedroom, like we're on a beach? Or do you ever flirt and play with each other as if it's a first date again? Like, do you do fun things, like relive past experiences together?
Talk about it, but not necessarily like role play it.
Act them out. Or you say a phrase that's kind of an inside joke, that's become an inside joke from a previous time, and it brings back, some of those feelings again.
Mhm.
So even that can be role play. It doesn't always have to be, hooking up with someone you don't know at a bar type role play. There's a fantastic resource called faithfulfling.com,
Oh, cool.
and it's role play sex date ideas in the context of you're a married couple. So that's why it's called Faithful Fling. You're faithful to each other, but they set you up on scenarios. So it's free to sign up. You get 21 days free just to try it. You get your first fling. And it's kind of like Laura Korn's book. Well, sort of. You have a his part and a her part. So Stephanie, you'd have your own login, and Andy, you would have your own login. It's the same scenario, but Andy has his part to play and Stephanie has her part to play. And it's really well written, lots of really helpful suggestions. And the first fling is free and you get to try it out. And if you like it, then you subscribe, and they can send you one every month or every other month. But it's another resource if you want to experience role play that doesn't feel like gross.
Okay.
Great.
It's all within the right context.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. We'll try it. Another thing is Stephanie, from recommendations from a podcast or something like that, we went out to dinner with friends and she leaned over and says, I'm not wearing any underwear. And it's like,
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Uh-huh.
Stuff like that. I think we could experiment with more, and, just the surprising, the stuff that's out of the norm. Even though it's nothing huge, it's still, wow, okay.
Now, why is that so exciting for you, Andy? Hearing Stephanie whisper to you she's not wearing any underwear.
Because it's out of the norm. I mean, it's out of her normal character that I'm used to. So
yes,
hear that she's not wearing any underwear. When I know she always wears underwear, and it's her. I know that she's thinking about it, which makes me think about it. Anyway, it just gets things started.
And I also want to point out, what if she told you she's not wearing underwear the moment right before you're planning on having sex? Would it have the same effect as if you're in a situation like out to dinner with friends when you know?
No, it wouldn't.
No.
But
Why is
also, I don't know. It's just, it's almost like we're getting away with something.
Yes. That speaks to your eroticism. That's this part of us that makes us feel alive and fun and young again. It's
right.
And now that you mention it,
getting away with things, quote unquote, is part of that.
Yeah, there have been times that I've thought about, wow, what if I caught her in the bathroom at a restaurant or something like that? And took advantage over there, I mean, it's just, that's kind of the role.
Get arrested. Well, we've had times where we pretend like we're not married yet, and you shouldn't be doing that, or
yes, isn't that fun? That's exciting.
Yeah,
stop, but don't stop.
Yeah, so you can't go in the bra or the panties. You can touch all around, but you can't go in them. It just builds up the anticipation.
It's that forbidden.
Yeah,
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
And I bet when you think back of the stories you read with the more erotic scenes, there's often a common theme that authors will use is a little bit of the forbidden idea, because that builds excitement. And so you can incorporate those themes into everyday life, but a little bit of that playfulness of the forbidden.
Well, those are good things that we can build on and try.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take some creativity, and I'm not so most creative, so you're going to have to work on it.
You're probably more creative than you give yourself credit for.
You're way better. You're way better when we've been in the Just Between Us app as saying things you're going to do to me than I am.
You guys are experiencing so much freedom. This is excellent. Now, one last idea I have for you about novelty before we have to go today. And then we can set up another meeting, and if you want, in a few months, we can talk about more of these concepts if you like. But there's novelty that's horizontal. And that's like, let's try new sex toys. Let's try new positions, new parts of the house. That's horizontal novelty, I call it. It's like water skiing, like staying on the surface, but going for breadth of novelty. There's also the scuba diving option, which is going deeper, but kind of in the same space, side of novelty as well. And that is learning how to have fresh eyes for your spouse. It's the ability to wake up, like for Andy to wake up and see the same Stephanie every morning that you wake up next to, but something is different about her today. Like seeing her with fresh eyes all over again today. Even though it's the same familiar person, what is it in her that I see new today? It's having this sense of like ongoing awe and curiosity and amazement. This if you can cultivate that and carry that every day, and it lends itself to like really deep appreciation, really deep cherishing, and that's another form of finding more novelty in sex. That's more vertical than it is horizontal.
So
Go
how
ahead.
do you go about that? How do you do that? I mean,
Yeah,
I tend to understand what you mean, but
there's a few ways I've experienced it in my own marriage that might help. For example, I've seen my wife. She's a very quiet person, very introverted. She noticed that our church wasn't having a big Christmas choir. She took it upon herself to organize. She called people. This is way out of her comfort zone. There's like 25 people at her house, and she's, playing the piano surrounded, and she picked out this choral piece. And like, dang, she's the boss. Like, seeing my wife step up and be a boss, it was really sexy to me. I'm seeing the same wife, same woman, yet I'm seeing a new aspect of her. It's like a diamond, and you like move it to a new aspect. Like, this is another side of her that I don't normally see. And gosh, I think this is a very beautiful part of her. And so I'm learning how to appreciate her more. Another time I've noticed this too is with my mother's death. She passed away last summer. And just thinking about how short life can be, how ephemeral things tend to be. And so, like, this can happen to anyone. This could be, I don't mean to sound morbid, but like, this could be the last day on earth with my wife. Accidents can happen. Something can happen. And so if I approach her, touch her, speak to her, experience her in that kind of a light, I have a lot more vertical novelty. Like, now I'm experiencing someone that I deeply and truly cherish and appreciate. So that's also, so when we have sex now, I'm having sex with this person that has a lot of depth with me, or that I see a lot of depth with. And so it's a new experience again, but it's a different dimension than like a new position or a new location. Does that make sense?
yeah, it does. Yeah. And it's something I'll have to learn and work on.
So my homework for that would be take some time to really contemplate, if Stephanie were gone today, what would I miss about her the most? Or if Stephanie is giving a presentation at work and Andy, you have a chance to go see her give that presentation, and it's like, okay for you to go, like, go see her in her element that you normally don't see her in. Like, that's another example. When you can witness your spouse step outside their comfort zone, do something hard, it's very attractive. And it doesn't always have to be in the sexual domain. It could be anything. Just opportunities to see each other in a new light. And it's the beginner's mind. It's can I look at this person that I see every day, but with fresh eyes again? That's how you build that vertical novelty too. So you can have a very vanilla sex life, as far as range of things, and have a very novel sexual experience because you're witnessing your spouse in new ways that have a lot of depth to that.
Brings more more of an in-depth feeling, more a deeper love and understanding.
It makes more meaning, right? Yeah, sex is a big meaning-making time. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Good. Thank you. Okay, as we close up, please summarize for yourselves and for me, Andy, what has been the top things that you found helpful for today? And then Stephanie, if you can summarize in your mind what's been most helpful for you today.
For me, I guess looking at role play is one of those things, and not just looking at it as her dressing up as the maid or whatever, but the playfulness, the play part of it, whether it's, just sneaking a little bit here and there. That's something that stuck out. And then having the fresh eyes for your spouse, looking for in-depth meaning and for looking at new ways to appreciate her and the things that I love about her and the unique things about her also. But those are probably the things that stick out the most to me right now.
Okay. I am really looking forward to the faithfulfling.com.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Trying that out and just kind of making things a little less routine and just adding like the playfulness and see where we can go from here. And you did give me a lot to think about with looking at Andy through new eyes and taking that time to remember all the ways that I appreciate him and seeing the things I don't see, if that makes any sense.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Paying attention.
Very good. I look forward to following up with you again in a little bit.
Okay. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Appreciate it.
Well, there you have it. Thank you for listening today. If you're interested in taking your relationship to the next level, getting some coaching, helping raise the level of intelligence in your marriage, this fantastic program is Next Level. You can find out more at getyourmarriageon.com. Click on coaching and go to Next Level. I look forward to seeing you there.
We hope that you enjoyed this episode of Get Your Marriage On. And if you did, we would love it if you would take a few seconds to give us a rating on iTunes and to share the show with your friends. They'll thank you for life. Once you've done that, you can head over to getyourmarriageon.com for more resources about today's topic and to download our amazing marriage apps. Now go get your marriage on.